Busy out here today. Got cruise liner tenders, 2 big cruise liners, 3 cruise liners, there's one behind that one as well. And then we got some bulk carriers coming in, just some small coasters. And we're going right down over there. We're going to go to have a look at the Cairnside. I haven't dived here in a while. The boys have dived here recently, but I haven't done it probably in a year, maybe a year and a half. So today the divers we got with us are Paul Maindy, Matt LeMay from Channel Island Diving, and on there we got Den the dive driver. Almost there, just in here. That's Sark, that's Herm, Jetu and Guernsey. Welcome back to Bailiwick of Guernsey Shipwrecks. Today we're going to be diving on this vessel. Her name is the Cairnside. She sunk on the 24th of Jan 1922. The vessel left Granville at 3 PM on 24th of January 1922 for Hull whilst in ballast. The weather was misty and high winds were blowing. Visibility was very bad during the evening and the night. At approximately 10 o'clock PM, the Cairnside was driven against what was thought to be 2 islets. The tide was running very hard and the passage was about the same length as the steamer. The Cairnside bumped off the rocks with a great deal and then struck definitely. Everything possible was done to attract the attention of others. Very lights were fired and the help was continuously signalled from a powerful lamp. All preparations were made to leave the vessel at a moment's notice, and the need arose at midnight when the steamer slipped off the rocks and foundered. It was so close to land, yet it was near impossible to reach it with the ship's boats because the tide was running too hard. There was nothing to do but go before the wind in an 18-foot boat. The captain and all 13 crew set out for an unknown destination in heavy seas. The sea was coming into the boat and soaking the crew incessantly. Hoisting the mainsail, eventually Guernsey was reached, and the long night of signalling and suspense has ended when they arrived in Chouet. The first officer remarked that the red light of Sark was signalled at 4 o'clock that morning, and then out to sea, facing the leading lights of St Peter Port, signals were made to attract attention. The tide then took the boat out to the northward and on and turned and brought her about to the north coast of Guernsey. The crew landed at 10 AM on Wednesday the 25th of January 1922. The captain and the crew landed at Chouet and information conveyed to the police station, and the inspector, Mr. E.A. Green, at once dispatched a Guernsey motor bus to bring the crew to St Peter Port. At 10:55 AM, drenched to the skin, Inspector Green obtained just the necessary information on leading questions and advised Captain Arundel to see Mr. H. Dickland, the local representative of the Shipwreck Mariner Society, and then seek the help he and his crew definitely needed. The Guernsey people must have made a bit of an impression after His Excellency Major General Sir J. E. Caper received this letter from the Mayor of Sunderland. Dear Mr. Governor, it has been brought to my notice by Mr. N. J. Wilson, the first mate of the ill-fated steamer Cairnside, which was lost off your island, that you and the people of the island of Guernsey so kindly provided for the welfare and distressed seamen whose lives were saved, 11 of which of the 13 being from Sunderland. And on behalf of the residents of the town of Sunderland and the crew, I beg to tender to our warmest thanks for the manner in which they were treated by you and your people. Believe me, yours faithfully, Walter Rain, Mayor. As you can see, the last 100 years hasn't been very kind to this vessel and is very much flattened now due to the action of the tide. At the moment we're in the rear hold. Looking back, we can see the donkey boiler and the main boiler. The donkey boiler is the one that's standing up. This is my 14th dive on this shipwreck. At 50 metres it's fairly deep, but every time I dive a shipwreck there's a different feeling to it. For some reason this dive feels a little bit sad. I'm about to head back to the shot line now. You can just see the lights from the strobes flashing. This large item here is the winch that would have been just behind the wheelhouse. Still has a small amount of copper piping on it. Here you can see a little tap. The visibility on this dive is quite exceptional for this wreck. In this tangled mess you can see all sorts of bits and bobs, some dead man's fingers. There's also the steps that you probably would have climbed to go up to the wheelhouse. There's a little bit of rigging here, a little wheel still attached. This is probably the boom off of one of the derricks. There's also fishing gear trapped right underneath, some sort of grill. Just work out what would have been the rear bulkhead behind the wheelhouse. Now the wheelhouse has completely disappeared, probably because it's made of timber. Every shipwreck's got an iconic little piece, the thing that people normally remember the shipwreck by, and for some reason this seems to this tiling on the toilet, so it's black and white checkering, typical of the 1920s. You just work out there's a base for a toilet still left on it. Always clean it up when I go down there. Keep checking my dive computer. 2 reasons. 1, I've only got a small amount of back gas. 2, I've got a time to surface time I don't want to go over, and that's 18 minutes. There probably is a 3rd reason as well. Whenever I'm a little bit knocked, I tend to check everything loads of times just to make sure. The best thing with narcosis is to manage it properly. Not quite sure what this thing is, but you can see there's fishing gear, there's ropes that have dragged it out onto the seabed a little bit. That's probably on the wreck at one time. Same as this side. This is the side of a hole that's been ripped right out to the north. I think it's about time I started heading up. Slightly early, but I'm happy. I've seen enough of the wreck for today. That's just checking everything's okay, and that's the signal. We're all going up. You don't get many days with the visibilities like this, believe me. I've been on this shipwreck and it's been completely pitch black before. This is probably the worst thing about tech diving, having to come up and do set stops to do your decompression. I'm at 12 meters here and I've got 1 minute left. Slowly work our way up. Our lazy line's at 12 meters, so now I need to get onto the lazy line. You notice now my computer says 51 in the bottom corner. That's because I'm now breathing 51% O2. This speeds up our decompression obligations big time.
That's the end of my dive. So I stayed quite shallow then. I was only on twin 7, and I breathe a lot of air, so just taking it easy and staying above all the other boys. So I didn't really want to turn my lights on, as you see. It's a bit horrible backscatter, so I was kind of leeching off a Matt's light. Is my light. There's a special word in diving for it, light B. It's not light body. So let's see where they are.
You can see Paul's fins there, yeah. And there's Matt's orange hands, and he's filming us by the looks of it. Gonna drift.
I reckon I'm alright to go astern.
Yeah, you go astern, yeah. I reckon they got a couple more minutes and they'll be up. They went down before me and stayed deeper than me, even though I did see 50 meters on the I like to call it, oh, they're bobbing down. I like to call it the rice pudding because the seabed around here looks like rice pudding. So here comes Matt. He's gonna pop his head out the water. There he is. You can see the Sark boat in the background, travelling past. And we're now drifting up north by the looks of it. I'm gonna have to put you down and grab his stage bottle and stuff, help him in the boat. Back up to the shot line now, that's what we unclipped off of, and then we drifted this way.
Wind has carried us.
Yep. The wind has carried our buff. See, this is the beauty of coming out diving on a fishing boat. You can use a winch.
Oh, yeah.
There's no pulling up by hand and trying to get yourself a bend.
And then you ask, like, other people ask to get your stuff as well.
What, other divers?
Yeah, other divers.
And they're like, oh, can you just retrieve our shot for us, please? It's 10 pence a metre.
Retrieve our dive, that's what I'm talking
We do it. We're nice like that. We do it.
They weren't technically out there, though. It's just not our boat.
Jane didn't get a feed.
With all the lobsters I could see, I couldn't see big ones. And I saw one big one out on sand on the stern and I couldn't get it out of the box. It's right in this box. Yeah. Well, it's normally
Giggity.
normally I'm getting in.
We still chatting about football? We still chatting about football? Oh, lobsters. And here it comes. These are our little rings to put our strobes on, which I kind of forgot were there, so I just hooked mine on the line. I didn't forget they were there because this is a brand new rope. Yep. Oh look, it's been polished. Apart from the underside, yeah, he couldn't get onto the underside there.
It's almost he cheated at that.